What's up, everybody?
What's up?
I came in with a bang. I came in. Look,
ready to go.
We are ready to go, y'all. We
up.
are here.
Excited.
Episode 1 of Are We Gonna Talk About It?
I already know. Episode 1.
With my handsome, wonderful husband here.
With her handy dandy sidekick.
Yeah. Stop. We in this thing together. But y'all, welcome to the episode. The first episode of Are We Gonna Talk About It with
Ty
and Taryn.
Let's do it.
Yes, y'all. We are here. We are here, and we are so excited to be doing this.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we got a lot to talk about today as far as this whole podcast situation,
this whole platform.
Why we are
here.
here.
Like, how do we get here?
How did we get here? What is it? Like, all of the questions, and that's what we're going to be answering today.
All of it.
So before we get started, hey, like, go ahead and join the community, y'all. This is going to be, or Are We Going to Talk About It community, and we would love for you to just come on and come on in.
Come on in.
You know, as some of the saints say. But yeah, we're diving in today, and I mean, I'm sure people want to know, like, what is it?
What
hear this.
Is it?
Are we going to talk about it? You know, like, what are we talking about here?
I'm curious as well. I mean, there's so many it's to talk about. So let's talk about it. So what is it that we're going to be talking about in all these episodes?
It is, y'all. Oh, here we go. It is a candid conversations, candid and necessary conversations surrounding faith, marriage, family, and ministry, all. In that order.
Yes.
And so, of course, with us, you know, being believers, and being married, having children, having a whole ministry, like,
right.
That's what you're going to get here.
Right. And obviously, like she said, you know, we have it in order because we're driven by our faith. That's who we are.
Yes.
So it comes out in our content. So we don't necessarily have to say this is a Christian podcast, but this is who we are. So it comes out in what we do. But obviously everybody's welcome, because I believe regardless of what walk of life you're in, you're going to be able to get something from this podcast.
Right.
And then after faith, we have marriage. I don't know about y'all.
That could be a whole podcast by itself, but we know that's not all of who we are.
We're going to cover it.
But we are going to talk about pertaining to marriage.
It pertaining to marriage, because like you already know, our marriage comes before our kids.
Exactly.
I know that sounds crazy,
that's
but
true.
we gonna spend a whole episode. But if we ain't right for us, we can't be right for our kids. So we make time for us. And then faith, marriage, family.
We got to talk about this parenting thing, you know?
We
continue to learn so much about parenthood and what it means to show up for your kids. And so
absolutely,
we got to talk about some things.
Our kids are 4 and 7.
Yeah.
Respectively.
Yes.
Because they are full grown adults, even at 4 and 7.
Yes, they
and so those of y'all who have kids or plan to have kids, want kids, got nieces, nephews, have ever been around kids, you already know there's some very candid and necessary conversations that need to happen around parenting or even being around kids for the most part.
I know. It was funny because, sidebar, we were just watching this video last night, you know, different TikTok videos. And of course, there's a lot going on with gentle parenting, which we might have to have a whole episode on that and kind of just our perspective of it. But we were watching this video last night, and I felt like, I don't know if you were feeling convicted, but I was feeling a little convicted about some things, you know, kind of had to search my heart, like, Lord, let me show up and be a better parent. But that's another it.
It absolutely is a big it.
That's a big it.
And then we have a fourth it, or at least category, that we'll be diving into, and that is ministry. Ministry,
y'all. If you don't know, if you're new here and you don't really know us, we are actually, well, my husband and I, we have a ministry.
We do. Flowing Life Outreach and Worship Center, Charlotte, North Carolina. If you're ever in the area, come through.
Yeah, Flowing Life.
And so again, you know, we have it in that order because these are things that are very important to us. But all of these categories are things that we encounter, but that we believe that y'all encounter on a daily basis too. And so these are things that we're going to dig in. Yeah. They're candid. They are necessary.
Yes.
A lot of things will be transparent. You'll get a peek into our personal lives, and be able to even talk about taboo topics. Some things that you may not hear talked about too much, either from the faith community, that you may not hear in marriage counseling, that you may not hear parents say for whatever reason, fear of being canceled, or I don't want to say the wrong thing, but we still need to talk about these things. And ministry.
Yeah. So with that, I guess one of the reasons why we thought, hey, why do a podcast? You know, like there's so many out there in the streets and stuff. And
Absolutely.
we're going to get into some more details about that. But I believe for us, what we realize is, you know, we are having these conversations daily surrounding these topics.
Yeah.
And so,
Right.
I mean, we've had to have like the hard conversations.
Oh,
we've
absolutely.
had the humorous conversations, or just sharing nuggets about even the things that God is showing us in the season of our lives as believers. And so I think just realizing like the richness of our conversations that we have often, and just saying like, man, I know other people would benefit from it.
Absolutely. I think like, so it's amazing. Are we going to talk about it? And another key word in that title is talk.
Yes.
And I feel like it's something special that happens when like somebody is able to give language to something that you're feeling. Like when somebody is able to like to almost read your thoughts, like, bro, I was thinking that, man, that's what I've been feeling.
Yeah.
And I didn't know how to say it. And y'all captured it just in one sentence. Like it just makes you feel seen.
Yes.
It makes you feel heard.
That's good.
And so this is kind of our way of saying, man, the things that you think about, the things that you feel, you know, us trying to at least give language, again, inviting you into our conversations that we give language, things that we give language to, but translating that to you in some candid conversations.
Yeah, definitely some candid conversations, just to know that you are not alone, you know, in the various things that you deal with. We're just here to be that beacon of light, that beacon of hope for
Absolutely.
you, to let you know like, hey, we deal with things too. And, you know, so we're excited about that part. I believe, as far as like the podcast and, you know, us starting this thing and jumping into it, you know, I'm sure there are questions of like, you know, did you always want to do a podcast?
Yeah.
Is this something that you said, okay, Vision Board 2023,
No.
let's jump into this podcast
Absolutely
world and
not.
see what this is about? This was not on our radar at all, y'all.
It absolutely was. It absolutely was not.
So do you want to go first, or do you want me to share just as far as like, you know, because with us, you know, being believers, we are spirit-led believers. And so anything that comes from us, you know, we do believe that God, we are intentional with being led by God to start projects or anything that he tells us to do with being creative and all of that. And so I believe this is I know this podcast is definitely one of those things. So do you want to share? Because we've had two different situations that happened, you know, with us. Like you had your own confirmation and God spoke to you, but then also God was speaking to me about it. And, you know, do you want to jump into that?
Yeah, absolutely. And so I guess it's just like it's one of those areas that it seems that some would say is maybe it's popular. It's some might be discouraged from it and say it's oversaturated. But you know, I was reading through John chapter 4, and what was interesting to me about it is like I'm not going through there, you know, searching for a word. I'm not looking for something like, all right, we want to start something fresh. Like God, give us a fresh word so that we can, you know, start on something or give me vision. I'm just reading through the scripture, just looking for God, and in it, in John chapter 4. It was the passage where he meets the woman at the well, but once she goes away, he's talking to the disciples, and he's like, it says in John chapter 4, verse 34, he said, Jesus said to them, my food is to do the will of him who sent me and to finish his work. Do not say there are still 4 months and then comes a harvest. Behold, I say to you, lift up your eyes, look at the fields, for they are already white with harvest. And he's telling them like, hey, the harvest is plentiful. It's ready. Like we're the laborers. We're the people who are going to go after it. And for me, in that moment, I wasn't thinking podcast, but that's the thing that just kept ringing in my ear, was almost like there are people that are waiting for what you have. So then it's like, if they're waiting for what you have, what do I have?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? What do I have that people are waiting for? And for me, it's like, no matter where I am in life, I always got encouragement for somebody.
Yeah.
I always got hope for somebody. I always got something uplifting to say, and that's just who I am. Like that's the makeup of my character. Anybody that knows me, I can say confidently, like that's who I've been.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so to consider that, it's like, well, how do I use that? You know what I mean? Like what can I use? I'm already a pastor. I'm already preaching. Like what else am I supposed to do? But then there's a vast world of people.
I want to jump in on that part before we go deeper into that.
Yeah, because, go for it.
Because as God was ministering to him about that, like God began to, I think I was praying one day and I just heard the words, extend your reach. And I'm like, okay. Yeah. I don't know what that means.
I'm already doing 10,
already doing
things,
so much.
17.
Like extend my reach. How? Like what? What is that supposed to look like? And so, I just kind of, pondered those things in my heart.
You took mental note.
I took a mental note and just left it in there. But then I started just considering some other things like, okay, what are some other things that I can do outside of what I'm already doing?
Right.
And here I go. Instead of just waiting on God to get more information, I started like Googling and saying, okay, what's something that I kind of like you, like going through, what are some things about me that I already do that's already a part of me?
Yeah.
And so I started going down actually another path of like, I could do this. Yeah. And let me start digging in this and let me look at this course and see how much this costs.
Extend your reach actually implies that you have more in you than what you're actually doing, even though it don't feel like
so
it.
I was looking at,
let me stretch a little
but
bit.
then I was focusing on some other skills and talents that, I have. It was like virtual assistant. I was like, I could do that, easily. And so I started talking to him about it, and y'all, God just like shut me down. And this is what he said. He said, you
take your time, preacher.
So here I am trying to be a virtual assistant to other people. Like, okay, I got these skills. I can utilize these. I can, do something with that. He said, no, you be your own virtual assistant.
That's heavy.
That was so heavy. And
That's
so
heavy.
I was just
Say
like,
that again.
you be your own virtual assistant.
So you was trying to be it for somebody else.
I was trying to be it for somebody else.
And God was like, I put it in you. Like, you need to do this.
You do this.
To you, for
but
you.
But still at the time when he said it, I did not know what that meant. And so we can get into when we both had that conversation, we talked about it. I think it was morning time. I came downstairs and I think I brought it to you and I was just like, what did I say? I was like, what do you think about us doing a podcast together?
Yeah.
I was actually nervous when I asked you that because like, we already know
balancing
it's a lot. Yeah, balancing a lot. It's just like, okay, do we really want to throw something else in the mix that's going to require us to really put some time and attention on it?
And my reaction when she said it was absolutely.
And I was like, shocked, but I was excited.
That. I mean, because it comes naturally, and this is the reason, because again, y'all find out with these episodes how we talk and how we communicate with each other, but the conversations that we have on a regular basis sometimes leaves us feeling like, I wish that conversation could have been captured to give to somebody else. Because the way that it helped me in my position, I know that it can help so many other people. And so when we considered that, it was just like, this is a no-brainer. Like this makes sense that people need to see these and hear these conversations because we know that it'll translate to where they are as well. It's
so interesting because it's just like God speaking to both of us about these things, extend your reach, the harvest, you already have some things inside of you that you can use, be your own virtual assistant. And then it was something else that came to mind when we started really thinking about this thing. Ty, for those of you who do not know, he does media, photography, videography. A couple months ago, you got offered that position, to try to do recording for a podcast.
A pretty big podcast.
A pretty big podcast, doing video and just being the production person.
The point man for pretty much everything, start to finish.
So we were laughing at that because it's just like, okay, that's funny because that didn't even go through, and here we are doing our own thing.
Here we are creating it because it's interesting because we were saying, hey, we have all the makings of a podcast with content.
Yeah.
But then once we start looking around like, okay, what do we have that can actually do the work though? All right, we got podcast microphones.
I already have them.
Right? We have the cords. We have the extensions. We have lights up in the space. We have the laptop capacity. You know what I mean? We we have the software. We have the cameras. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Everything. We are familiar with editing videos from our Francis for our YouTube channel. You guys check that out.
Yeah.
And so we do everything from start to finish. We have everything in hand. And so that was kind of another thing that God kind of showed me. And it was just like, the harvest is plentiful. The laborers are few. It's like, I mean, you have it in you. He didn't say, hey, let me pray for y'all and send y'all out in this situation. Right. He was just like, hey, it's ready. Like, what are y'all waiting? You have in you what you need to go out there and get it. So like, what are you waiting for? And I know y'all listening to this and y'all like, oh, well, that's a no-brainer to me too. Like, y'all got all the stuff. Y'all should have did this years ago. Why didn't y'all think of this? But at the same time, when you're busy with so many other things, sometimes you don't realize what you have at your disposal until that light goes off, until God reveals it.
And it could be in line with his timing too.
Yeah,
that's another thing too.
Because we didn't think about it.
Yeah.
Until he actually showed it to us, or until we sat down and we said, what do we have in our possession that can actually produce?
I think sometimes it starts with the desire. Like, he places, like, you're seeking him, and he starts giving you desires of your heart. Like, we knew that there was an inkling of something that we should be doing, something else, but we didn't know what it looked like.
I agree.
And so he began to allow that desire to take shape until it manifested, and here we are.
So that's really good, because I'll even say this. I don't know if you remember a while back, but I had a taste for some oatmeal raisin cookies. But at the same time, it was during a time and space where both of us was just like, oh, we don't need no sweets. We need to lay off the sugar, blah, blah, blah. So we're like, we're not going to buy any. Excuse me. So I said, well, let me see if we got the ingredients. I go through the cabinets, figure out we have everything that we need.
Everything.
Right. You see what I'm saying? We have everything we need, but it had been there all along. Right?
Yes,
oatmeal,
sir.
How long has that oatmeal been sitting up there? The raisins, we don't eat every single day. Like, they've been sitting in there, the flour, the sugar, the brown sugar, like all of that stuff, it's already in there. But it wasn't until we actually had a desire for it that it was just like, okay, go see what you got. Oh, I already have everything and didn't even know I had. Okay, let's put this together, do it together. And they came out so good,
perfect
too.
Recipe.
Didn't even have to pay for it.
Didn't even have to pay for it.
Already there.
Man, that's good. That is
I don't know
good.
Who that word is for
that
right
was
there.
For me, look. That was for me. So as we get ready to wrap up, what do you want to share that, our listeners can expect from this podcast?
What can you expect? I believe that you can expect transparency. I say this from time to time with maybe some people that are more familiar with us with the church, but what you see is what you get. Yeah. And so, like, our interactions here, if you know us, you can tell, that's Ty and Taryn. When we hang out with them, that's what we get. When we go out with them, when we see them at church, we see them in public, that's what we get.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. We got to put that sound in there.
I know. That's going to be our sound.
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
What you see is what. So I think that's, out of other, we've already said a bunch of other things, but from what we haven't said yet, what you see is what you get. Like, who we are will come out, through here in a very genuine and authentic way.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. And just being authentic, like that, like he said, that's who we are. Even with the different topics that we're going to be talking about, that covers it. That's going to come out. That's what you're going to get. And, we know that it will bless your life. Like, just because it's like, when you're creating something, you don't want it to be so broad that you don't have any type of like, accurate direction of where you're going. But, those topics are who we are.
Yeah. And I think that's why it helps that obviously we told y'all the very first word we used was faith. Yeah, because that's the makeup of who we are. And it's infusing all of the other areas. So it is, absolutely. So everything that we talk about, it's in it because that's who we are. And so, every single topic you can expect to get faith. Yeah. You can expect to get some aspect of our marriage. You can expect to get some aspect of family and ministry, because this is all it's all made up of who we are. Yeah. So everything that comes out, man, you getting a whole conglomerate, a whole good mix.
Yeah, the good recipe, a perfect recipe. You getting them oatmeal cookies. That's what you get.
Yeah, that's what you getting, oatmeal cookies.
So since we're ending the podcast now, and you said we're gonna get faith. Can you leave us with some faithful or faith encouragement for the week? Leave our listeners with something that will encourage them.
Yes, sir. Y'all turn with me to to the book of John.
If y'all can't see me, for those of you listening, you can't see me playing the keys right now, but I got an imaginary organ right here.
Wrong key, sis.
Wrong key. I got perfect
Put
pitch,
me in my
baby.
Key, E flat. No, man, but I know that this is encouraging, and it goes back to what I was saying in John chapter 4. The thing that he tells him, he says, lift up your eyes. The fields, they're ripe for harvest. They're ready. Mm-hmm. And the part that really stands out to me is the part where he says, lift up your eyes. And I think it bears repeating what we've already said. When he says, lift up your eyes, to me, when I read it, I took it as maybe I've not been looking, or maybe I've been looking, but I haven't been seeking.
Wow.
Right. Or maybe there's things that I have around me that I haven't noticed because I've not given it attention. I've not taken time to dwell on it. I've not taken time to think about it. I've not even prayed to say, God, what are you trying to show me in this season? So when he says, lift up your eyes, it's almost like, but where were their eyes set before them?
Wow.
Right. And so my encouragement is, just to, give God an opportunity to show you, man, what do I have in my possession? Because obviously I already have in me whatever God is trying to pull out of me. Otherwise, he wouldn't be challenging you to do it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You have it within you. The whatever field he's calling you to, it is not oversaturated.
That's good.
Right? You can say, man, there's all these people out here, but he still says the harvest is plentiful. He didn't say the laborers are plentiful.
Yeah.
He says the harvest is
That's
plentiful. Good. The laborers, the people who do the work, are few.
Few.
I'll say this last thing. And then, obviously, whatever people group that God is calling you to, from a business perspective, that would be your audience or your niche, or whoever God is calling you to, you have something for them. Mm-hmm. There are people that might hear from us that may not hear from somebody else with a bigger platform, bigger title, many more followers. There are people that will listen to you that may not listen to us because they can empathize or relate to you on your level. Mm-hmm. And so wherever you are, man, I'm just encouraging you to lift up your eyes from where you are, look around, see what you have, and use it and go for it.
I love it. You
have any closing words?
No, you had it. You did it. You did. It was good
cookies.
too. The cookies were good. Now you got me wanting cookies. Yeah, we got to find something sweet to eat after this. But look, we want to say thank you all so much for listening to the very first episode of Are We Gonna Talk About It? And there is so much more to talk about. So we want you all to make sure that you go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube. The YouTube. I sound old. The YouTube.
You gonna meet us on the Facebook.
If you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe there. But if you're listening on any of your podcast platforms, be sure to go ahead and subscribe and connect there. Also, leave a review, you all, and share. That's how you can help us to continue to produce the episodes that we desire to produce. We need y'all to come on in and
I'll say this too. Even on our social media platforms, we see all the comments.
Yeah.
We get everything. So drop a comment. Let us know what you think. Give us feedback. Let us know even your thoughts. Everybody may not always agree on everything that we share, but we're always open to perspective
and
as well.
And talking about it.
Yeah, and let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Exactly. Let's talk about it. Episode 1.
Down.
In the books.
Y'all be blessed.
Work.